It's May 21st, 2013, and I'm here with Mr. Johnson to interview him about what he remembers from the Vietnam War. So, Mr. Johnson, when were you born?
June 10th, 1958.
What was your first job you had?
I was a paper boy when I was about 10 years old.
Do you remember anything about your job that related to the Vietnam War?
I would deliver the newspaper to one lady that would always check the obituaries and what was happening in the war just to see if her son had died.
What do you remember seeing in the newspaper themselves about it?
In the newspaper would be the pictures of the war, like the bombings. The people, the soldiers, but it was all in black and white, so we didn't get the blood and gore.
Okay. What did the locals do about the Vietnam War? Did they support it, or were they against it?
I was in a small town, so mainly it was supported. Most of them didn't like it. But every once in a while the high school kids would protest it when I was in junior high.
Alright. What part did the media play during the war?
During the war, the media would record it, so we were able to watch it on TV, and we had the newspapers. So, but being able to watch the bombings and the people and the interviews every night and seeing how many people were killed.
Was there any music, perhaps?
Lots of music was protest music, good old rock and roll. Now I can't remember it, but yeah, lots of music.
Alright. What do you remember from the media? Like, what did you recall seeing and or hearing?
The music
Yeah.
and the videos on TV.
Yeah. Alright. So, what did your family think about it? Like, it being publicized?
My dad was in World War II, so he didn't really care to watch about it, and we didn't really talk about it that much, or else I was too young. But
So that brings us to getting drafted. What was getting drafted really mean?
once a year, or once every other year, they would draw birthdays, and if you were that birthday, you got to get to sign up with a branch of the army you wanted. And during the big draft time, they would draft down to about 180 days. So during those last few days, you really had to watch it for people, if they got drafted or not.
So, you had some older brothers, you said. So, was it kind of scary knowing your brother could get sent away?
It was always in the back of your mind, because the brother could have got sent away. And on the last draft, my brother was number 7. So he was packing the bags, but then they stopped the draft.
Did you know anybody that got drafted?
Some of my friends' brothers got drafted. So they got to go be in the army.
So, that wasn't the only thing going on during the Vietnam War. What was any other, like, historical events that were going on during this time?
We had a couple presidents killed, or one president and his brother. Martin Luther King was killed. They had the race protests down in Alabama, Montgomery, where those were always on the news, where they'd use water cannons to get the people from protesting.
Yeah. It was also during the 60s and 70s, so was that like a big hippie flower power kind of thing?
Yes, we had hippies and flower power and free love, and that was when marijuana was getting popular, or a drug of choice. And my brother ran a record shop and traveled a lot.
So, about racism, that was really big during this time period. Was it any problems with it during the war itself?
I'm not sure.
No.
I don't remember.
No.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. And then everything being separated, that was more in the South, but did you ever have any problems up in Minnesota with it?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Never knew anybody.
No.
Yep. Pretty white community I grew up in.
Alright, so do you remember anything about Martin Luther King Jr. getting killed?
I remember the day that he got killed. He was on a balcony, and it was just kind of another foolish thing that happened, and always wondered why it was going to happen. And being the age I was, it's kind of like, you know, what's going on? What's going to happen in the future? Why are all these killings? You know, you get the Kennedys get killed, Martin Luther King get killed, and your leaders are getting killed. It was kind of weird. It upset my parents.
Alright, so going back to the whole flower power thing, do you remember anything about the people that got killed in that big protest in Ohio?
That was just another protest, and the governor decided to send the National Guard, and they gave them real bullets. So they shot 4 people, and it's another thing you just kind of worry about, that could my brothers be traveling and then they would get shot, or be in a protest, or be in the wrong place. And my brother was going to college or traveling, and just wondered if they might get in the wrong place, wrong time, and get shot.
That must have been scary, kind of knowing that.
Worried about it, yep.
So, after the war, when everybody was coming back, like, how was that? Was it, like...
I thought it was foolish that the soldiers got treated badly. They were protested. They were called baby killers. They weren't heroes. They had to run when the war ended and and they left behind so many prisoners. So that was kind of weird to me, that people that had done their job got protested and got shamed for doing a job that they had no choice to do.
Yeah. I never really understood why everybody called them baby killers and murderers if they were doing their job. Was that, like, did the people, like, command them to do that, or is it kind of just...
Somebody might have, but
Yeah.
but that was the only thing that came on the news.
Yeah.
It didn't come on the news that someone was shooting back out of you,
Yeah.
at you. You know, you want to get the worst out of the war and show the worst parts of it. So if families got in the way, I suppose that's what the newscasters found. So that's what everybody saw.
So was there a lot of protests against them then? Like when they came back?
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
When they got off the airplanes, during Korea War, they got a hero's welcome. During the Vietnam War, they got not a very good welcome, is what I remember.
Alright. So overall, what did you think about the war?
Thought it was a waste of time, but waste of lives. I didn't see any point of it, but now everything's good over there, so.
Yeah. Was it kind of upsetting that we lost, or was it just how it was?
It was happy to be done.
Yeah.
It was more happy to be done because they stopped putting money towards it, and they stopped putting people towards it, and China sent a lot of people across the border, so.
So, were you ever concerned for yourself or your brothers or your family in general during this time period?
Not really, but it's always there. You always check your draft number to see if I was 18, would I be drafted? So that was always interesting to check the draft number.
Yeah.
So just worried about it during the draft, and then after the shootings or the protests, just hoping my brothers weren't in the same spot at the wrong place at the wrong time.
All right. Well, thank you, Johnson. This concludes our interview about the Vietnam War from how he lived through it from a different perspective. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.